Our Laker insider, Mike Bresnahan, and Lakers beat writer from The Athletic, Bill Oram. Guys, happy opening night eve.
Big game tomorrow, Bill.
I mean, I know I'm going to be excited going to bed tonight, listening for a little pitter-patter on the rooftop, waking up early to open presents.
I believe it's the wrong holiday. It's
Well, I don't know how you do it at your house.
It would be,
give the kids
Adam
presents.
Silver on your rooftop.
Okay, sure.
Yeah, you like that?
I don't have a chimney, though.
You get a little interview with him at least.
Well, that's a
That'd be
bummer.
nice.
Yeah, that'll help.
Yeah.
It's been a minute since I've done a show with you.
Has it?
I forgot what
Oh,
these
you're in
moments
for a treat.
I was gearing up. Anyways, let's get into it. I'm excited about opening night eve. LeBron James, he knows a thing or two about opening nights and getting buckets in them. He has the second most points in league history on the first night of the NBA season at 447, right behind the mailman. And he's followed by Jordan Cap and The Truth. Last season, crowds were much smaller at Staples due to the pandemic and indoor capacity restrictions. LeBron and the Lakers saw limited fans when they played this past postseason, and King James, he's ready for more.
It was kind of just a sampler platter, I would say, and it made me cherish the moments that I had previous with the fans in the building, but also even look more forward into what was going to happen in the future, and that is beginning tomorrow night. Being a Laker is one special thing, and then it makes it even more special when you actually get on the floor and you're with the Laker faithful and they're there in the building. So, looking forward to that.
You're at 19 for you. How do you get yourself excited for this, and how do you keep the juices flowing over those 19 years?
Just motivated to have an opportunity to win a championship. That's why I play the game. It's one of the greatest, shortest feelings that you have. You win a championship, and everything that you've put into that year just hits you all at once. And literally, like a couple hours later, it's over. And your whole time, you're just trying to figure out how can you get that moment again. Seriously. And that's part of my motivation still, just always trying to, get that feeling. It's like when you go to Cedar Point, the greatest amusement park in the world, and you ride the greatest ride, and that ride is taking its damn well time to get to the top. And you're there in total excitement. And then you finally go down that hill. And you're like, okay, I want to ride it again, but it take you 3 hours to get back on that ride. Like, I'd rather just go somewhere else. So that's kind of like the moment of winning the championship.
Okay, that may have been the most Ohio answer, Bill,
That's crazy.
but I will agree because I've stood in those lines for 3 hours.
Sandusky, Ohio.
Yes, waiting on those rides.
I've never been. Look forward to it one day.
You should go. You would love it. It's amazing. LeBron,
If I ever
though.
end up in Sandusky, Ohio.
LeBron, though,
Wait
year
some lines.
19. He is ready. Bill, let's start with you. You haven't been here since preseason began.
Yeah.
You've been around the team. What do you think we can anticipate from him?
Well, I think you're going to see a better performance, obviously, than we saw in the preseason from this team, because there's something on the line. It matters. The result of this game matters. Playing at their highest level matters. So from LeBron specifically, I think you're going to see him come out and want to demonstrate that these pieces all fit together. And so that's going to be him being energized if he's off the ball, making cuts, trying to find ways to be effective if Russell Westbrook has the ball in his hands, and then continuing to look to set guys up with the ball in his hands. I mean, we know he led the league in assists a couple of years ago. Russell Westbrook has done it many times in his career. How those two figure out the balance is one of the big questions coming into this year, and I think you're going to see a very motivated LeBron James in the season opener tomorrow night.
I feel like LeBron looks at this like it's a big puzzle. He's going to try to figure out what to do with Russell Westbrook, try to incorporate all these new faces, 11 new guys on this team, 12 if you include Avery Bradley, who's obviously just added to the team.
The newest face.
Yeah.
The newest old face.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, so many different little pieces here. And I always like to kind of gauge guys on the eve, if you will, Allie, before the season opener. And LeBron seemed very relaxed today with the media. He was kind of talking about, amusement parks in Ohio that I had no idea even existed. No offense, Allie, please don't hate me.
I am taking offense.
I also liked how, towards the end of it, he was saying, wow, I've really matured a lot over the years. When I was 25, I did not drink fine wine or good tequila, and now I do. So I feel like he's very relaxed, very at peace, and I think he's ready for a good season, too.
With that said, I want to bring this question to you then, Bill, because you used the word motivated. You think he will still be very motivated, even starting tomorrow night. With that said, he's been in the finals 10 times approaching season 19. He's 1-2 since putting on a Lakers uniform, reaching that point. It is hard to think that the motivation has changed at all to get back to that place, right?
Yeah, I mean, listen, obviously he's coming off of the first round playoff exit of his career last season, a season that ended, in just kind of such a deflating way after the expectations they came into the year with, obviously the defending champions out of the bubble. And listen, I think we are going to see this Lakers team take its time. They've been very consistent with saying that, it's a marathon. It's something we're going to figure out over the course of the season. It could be the end of the year before we figure it all out. But there are a few times throughout the year that you want to put on a show and that you want to come out and be at your best in as much as you can at that point in the year. Opening night is one of them, and Christmas is another. And so even if you are taking the long view and going gradually kind of over the course of the season, it's not like you're starting down here and then you're kind of building. You want to start here, and then maybe you're willing to come back here and this sort of build. But opening night's a big night. It is a holiday in the NBA. I do hope you got your opening night shopping done already, Brez,
100%.
because the malls are going to be a disaster tomorrow.
Yeah, it was Black Monday today, so I had a lot of good deals out there. It was kind of a big day for me shopping. I'm with you on a lot of this, Bill.
Let's focus on what you disagree with me on.
What aren't you with him on?
Actually, I think every player on the team has had some sort of derivation of we have to be patient. I don't even know what derivation means, but it sounds good. And I feel like, Anthony Davis last week, after they lost to Phoenix by like 30 or whatever it was, he's like, we're not going to skip steps to win a championship. We have to go through some processes here. Frank Vogel said it about 5 different ways today. LeBron, as relaxed as he was today, he was kind of like, look, there's a lot of new people here. So there's no doubt about it. It's going to be a process. The good thing for them, we've already mentioned it a couple times in these shows, the first month, that schedule, an easy 10 to 15 games for the Lakers, a lot of home cooking at Staples Center as well.
I wonder if they agree with Brez that it's an easy schedule to start the season.
Easy for us to say at this desk, right? Piece of cake, no problem.
I'm just saying, listen, there's a reason that I think the preseason was treated the way it was. Yeah. They know that they have time to build. I mean, these first 2 games against Golden State and the Suns, those are legitimate challenges. And those are kind of games with some stakes, right? Where it's, Golden State, they're kind of the 2 teams of the decade in the West. And then Phoenix is the team that knocked the Lakers out. So I think that you're going to see a high level of engagement, a high desire to perform and to win those games. And then you can start tinkering a little bit more when you play the Houstons and the Clevelands of the world.
And OKC.
I'm going to need you to step back on Ohio, okay?
Listen, I just hope that all the Cavaliers make it to LA and they don't get stuck at Cedar Point in those long lines.
In those long lines.
It sounds like that's all Cavaliers players do in their free time. Just wait for that awesome ride.
But the ride is worth it, apparently.
I'm going to take a book out of...
But the thrill is too short. The thrill is
I'm going to take a page out of LeBron's book and be very patient with you guys because it's just the A block. We got a lot of the show.
This is not patience I'm seeing.
Injury updates and other news for the Lakers heading into Game 1 against the Warriors. Check it out, Malik Monk. He is probable. Dealing with that groin injury. Kendrick Nunn, questionable. The ankle sprain. Wayne Ellington is out with the hamstring. THT out. We know that with the thumb. Trevor Ariza out as well with the ankle. Bill, Austin Reeves became the talk of the preseason, but before that, it was Malik Monk. With all the injuries, let's talk a little Austin just to begin. Do you see him a part of the rotation? Malik Monk.
Malik Monk. Yeah, I think Malik Monk will be in the rotation early on, especially with the injuries. I think he was sort of fringy before you had the injuries, but you take out THT and Trevor Ariza, 2 guys who slot in roughly kind of in some of those minutes that would affect Malik Monk. Obviously, the fact that he played so well in those early preseason games really does make a difference. They need guys who can knock down shots. They need 3-point shooting, and Trevor Ariza is a guy I think they were counting on for some of that early on. He's obviously going to be out into December, so I think you're going to see Malik Monk be a big option off the bench here in the early going. Absolutely.
Yeah, I think of all the new guys, and there are a lot of them, I think he might have to prove himself immediately more than anyone else. And we saw, some stuff last season, his 4th year in the league in Charlotte, where you're like, okay, this guy can't score. Especially when LaMelo Ball went down with injuries, he really jumped in. He did some pretty good stuff. But I think that the jury is still out on his game. We saw some good things in these preseason games. It's too bad he got hurt. But I think if he hits the ground running, he will be definitely a rotation guy for the entire season.
It's a big opportunity for him as well. When you consider, like you said, 4th-year guy signing a minimum contract to come to the Lakers, I mean, there's this is sort of a make or break type opportunity for him. He's obviously looking to extend his career. I mean, if you're signing a minimum contract at this stage of your career, what is your reputation around the league? How long are you for the NBA? And if he can take advantage of the opportunity that is presented by the injuries, the available minutes, he could be setting himself up for, a nicer payday next offseason, which is obviously a big part of the reason you take that smaller deal. You come align yourself with LeBron James, Anthony Davis, to learn from players like that, and then step into the rest of your career. So I look at this as a huge opportunity for Malik Monk as well.
And great value
Even
too.
before.
At
For the Lakers,
1.7 million.
hugely, yes.
Even before all the injuries, we were saying that every opportunity he needs to seize to obviously.
But I
make it
wasn't
for
sure if he was
himself.
I don't know that he would have been in the opening night rotation if this team was healthy.
100%.
And now I think that opportunity is there.
With Wayne, I think a lot of people had him penciled in. Obviously missed the last
Why are you
two.
looking at me?
Because it was you, had him in that starting rotation. Obviously only played 4 of the 6, dealing with that hamstring.
Yeah.
Are you concerned first with the hamstring?
Your hammies or whatever. They could be a week. They could be 4 weeks. The answer is no. If it was like a lower body injury, like a bad ankle or a sore knee, okay, that's trouble. Indeed, Ali, I was really kind of banging the drum on, this guy's going to be a starter on opening night. Maybe he would have been. We will never know. I still like his game because of that reason right there. He's shooting a lot of threes, making some threes over his career. Didn't see a lot of it in the preseason. Defense, that's always a different story with a lot of these veterans that they signed. But I think that Wayne could potentially cobble out a little role in the rotation, but he's got to get healthy first.
The purest shooter they have. So to me, there's a role for Wayne Ellington, probably a big role once he gets back. But again, it does depend a little bit on what we see from some of these other guys. Like Malik Monk could become a guy who has to play every night, and how does that, kind of take, push him into some of those Wayne Ellington minutes, and maybe Wayne has to prove himself a little bit more to get back into the role that he would have had if he was healthy. But I mean, listen, he was a top priority in the offseason for the Lakers. The way he has shot the ball throughout his career, great spot-up shooter, can create his own shot a little bit. So I think that's a guy that is going to play a lot once he is fully healthy. But you're right, that is absolutely the most important thing.
Another guy added to the mix, another guard, if you will. Avery Bradley picked up off of waivers.
Don't we know him?
Are we surprised by this?
I found out.
Did anyone see this coming?
I found out by Lakers Twitter. I'm like, oh, I literally did that in my kitchen. I'm like, this is interesting. Did not see it coming. The Lakers could have signed him during the offseason. Obviously, familiarity with the program, so to speak. Did not play in the bubble, but had a pretty good season going up to that point 2 years ago. Good pickup, and I think to me, Bill, it shows that the Lakers feel like they need to shore up some weaknesses defensively on that perimeter. Gone are Caruso, Dennis Schroeder, Danny Green, if you want to go back a couple years. They're definitely short some pretty good guards, KCP, on that defensive side.
Yeah, I mean, listen, like you said, they could have signed Avery Bradley in the offseason if they saw him as a real difference maker. But keep in mind, he was the starting 2 guard on this team before the hiatus
no doubt.
in
I love the
2019,
pickup,
2020. So, I mean, there's the familiarity. The skill set fills an obvious need. I mean, perimeter defense is a huge issue on this team. I don't know how much he's going to play necessarily, in the early going, but there's a chance he can contribute. And again, you actually made a good point, because he did opt out and did not go to the bubble. I didn't know how the relationship with the Lakers was after that, if there might be some hard feelings. So for them to bring him in, obviously a very buy low situation, possibly they get healthy and they need the roster spot, so they open the roster spot another way. But again, a guy they know, they like, and has contributed before, so we can do it again.